Hey guys, it's Emily from Autofy. Wanted to talk to you a little bit about workflows and what they are. So just to make it simple, workflows are just a series of steps in your sync. Depending on your subscription level, whether you're on basic, business, or premium, it allows you to have multiple workflows. It just depends on that subscription level. So if we look at this page right here, you can see underneath my workflows, I have quite a few, and I do have the ability to turn them on and off. So if you have multiple workflows, one really cool feature is that you have the ability to rename them. So if you have a specific workflow that is going from QuickBooks to Salesforce, and maybe you're also connecting to Shopify, and you have another workflow that's going to be going from Shopify to Salesforce, it's really helpful to name your workflow so you know what's what. In order to name it, all you have to do is mouse over, click this little edit icon, and make whatever change you want. So if I wanted to say that this is my account to customer sync, or I want it to be just a little bit different, I have the ability to rename it. So that way I know right away which sync that I'm looking at. And then you also have the ability to enable and disable workflows. So that way they do not show up under your workflows list, and it will completely disable a workflow if you do turn it off. So that means no scheduled syncs are going to be running. What we're going to do today is just take a look at one of my workflows. This specific one is a Salesforce to QuickBooks sync. On this page, you can see that my workflow consists of 4 different steps. Now, depending on my subscription level, I can have more than this. I'm just going to keep it simple with the 4, but I do have the ability to create additional steps. Now, you'll notice that one of my steps is turned on and the others are turned off. So that means when I run a sync, only my first step is going to run. If I only want a specific step to run, then I can turn all the other steps off. I can turn 2 steps on and have only those 2 run. So I have a lot of different options here. I'm going to go ahead and turn on my first and last steps. And when I'm turning these on and off, I do want to make sure that I hit save up at the top of the page, just so when I run my sync, I am ensuring that only steps 1 and 4 are going to run. And when we're looking at a workflow and the series of steps, it's very easy to see what is going on. So we can see in my first step, I am looking for Salesforce opportunities, and I'm going to insert them into QuickBooks as an invoice. So I can see what each step is going to do. I have a QuickBooks customer to account step, I have a QuickBooks item to product step, and then I also have a QuickBooks invoice to Salesforce opportunity step. So I've got 4 different steps on my workflow. Now, on each step, I have the ability to change some information. I can change my created or modified since date. Now, this is the last successful sync time. So if I have some records that didn't get picked up, or I had some records that failed and I don't really need to resync them, I just want to push my date forward, I have the option to do that. I can go in, select a particular day and a time, and have that be my last successful sync time. So that way, any opportunities that were created or modified since this date and time, those are going to be the only ones that get picked up in my sync. Now, I do have the ability to push this back 2 weeks based off the last successful sync time. Now, Autofy does not support historical syncs, which is why you have the 2 weeks, and that's as far back as you can push your date. On each of my steps, I can also include filters. So I'm looking for opportunities when the stage name equals closed won. I might want to add additional filters where there's a different status that I want to also look for an opportunity, or maybe it's based off of an account type. So I can add additional filters. I can turn preferences on and off. So if I don't want Autofy to insert records if no related data is found. So what that means is if I am syncing over an opportunity to QuickBooks as an invoice and I don't have that customer in QuickBooks yet, I don't want this opportunity to sync over as an invoice. So that's when I would keep this preference selected right here. Anytime, of course, that I make a change, I do want to hit save. We're going to go ahead and do that. So I do have one workflow for my Salesforce to QuickBooks, but maybe I also work with Shopify. And I have a Shopify workflow that's going to take my Shopify orders and insert them to QuickBooks as sales receipts. So Autofy can do a lot of different things. You can connect multiple endpoints, QuickBooks, Shopify, Salesforce, Amazon. So we do have a lot of endpoints that you can connect to. You can sync data back and forth if you want to sync orders over as invoices if they're not paid yet. You have the option to do that here. Now, each of your workflows does have its own settings button. So if I wanted to turn on my sync scheduler for different workflows, I can do that by clicking on settings and enabling the sync scheduler right here. Now, depending on your subscription level, you have the ability to sync all the way down to the 5-minute mark. Now, it does depend on your subscription level. If I wanted to, I could have this particular workflow, just my Shopify to QuickBooks workflow, sync every 30 minutes from, let's say, 6 a.m. until 3 p.m. every weekday. And I can also set it up to where I receive email notifications if there are errors. If my sync is error-free, and of course we hope that it is, then I'm not going to get an email. But I can set it up to where I get an email if there are errors. And all I have to do is click save. So that means it's going to start kicking off a scheduled sync every 30 minutes within that time frame. And I can do that for each individual workflow. And as you can see, it's already kicking one off right now. So that's basically it about workflows. If you have questions, of course, reach out to our support team at support@getautofy.com. Also, click the subscribe button down below. Let your friends, your coworkers know so that way you can be updated with any new content that comes out. Thanks, everyone.